The night shimmered with starlight and camera flashes. The 2025 Weibo TV and Internet Video Summit was in full swing, an event meant to celebrate brilliance, success, and the glimmering world of fame. But beneath the laughter, applause, and expensive perfume that lingered in the air, emotions were running deeper than anyone could imagine. For Shen Yue, it was supposed to be just another elegant evening, another red carpet, another smile, another round of polite conversations. She arrived glowing in a satin pearl gown, her smile effortless yet distant, her heart steady but guarded. She had been in the spotlight long enough to know that the world was always watching, and that one wrong glance could fuel 1,000 rumors. But what she didn't know, as the cameras clicked and reporters called her name, was that tonight, the one person she'd spent years trying to forget would walk into the same room. Dylan Wang. The name alone was enough to make her heart skip, that familiar ache that time had dulled but never erased. They hadn't spoken in months. Not since the industry whispers began. Not since schedules and silence replaced the laughter that once came so easily between them. And tonight, he wasn't alone. When Dylan entered the hall, the energy shifted. The audience's attention turned instinctively toward him. Tall, confident, magnetic as ever. But what caught everyone's attention was not just his presence. It was who walked beside him. Bai Lu. The two were seated together, smiling, whispering, sharing casual laughter that seemed to echo louder than the applause in a room. Fans online had already begun capturing screenshots, their chemistry undeniable, their proximity impossible to ignore. It was professional, maybe, but to anyone watching, especially to Shen Yue, it felt personal. For a moment, Shen Yue's carefully built composure cracked. Her eyes lingered across the room, meeting Dylan's for half a second. He looked back. Startled, perhaps, but then he quickly turned away, saying something to Bai Lu that made her laugh softly. And that broke something inside her. She smiled, pretending not to notice. But her heart was pounding, her throat tight. She tried to focus on the stage, the awards, the speeches, but all she could see was them. Side by side. Comfortable. Easy. 1,000 memories came rushing back. Filming under the rain, laughing between takes, the way he used to look at her like she was the only one in the room. Back then, it had felt real. Now, it felt like a distant dream mocking her. The cameras caught her glancing once, just once, in Dylan's direction. And that was all it took. Within minutes, social media lit up. Fans posted screenshots with captions like, "Did you see Shen Yue's face? And she looks heartbroken." The entire internet became a magnifying glass, amplifying every flicker of emotion that she tried so hard to hide. Backstage, things grew heavier. Shen Yue found herself standing alone in the corner, away from the chatter, away from the flashing lights. Her makeup artist called her name, but she didn't respond. She was staring at the reflection in the mirror, her own calm, perfect image staring back at her, and she didn't recognize the woman looking so composed when her heart was in pieces. Someone asked if she was all right. She smiled and nodded. Because what else could she do? Tears weren't meant for public view, not in this industry. But when she thought no one was watching, her eyes softened, and the first tear slipped quietly down her cheek. It wasn't anger. It wasn't envy. It was that helpless ache of nostalgia. Watching someone you once cared about move on like your story had never mattered. She didn't hate Dylan. If anything, she understood. Time changes people. Fame changes hearts. And the distance between them hadn't been created by betrayal or words, but by silence. The kind of silence that stretches too long, until it becomes permanent. Meanwhile, on the other side of the hall, Dylan felt it too. The air between them, thick, heavy, unspoken. He caught glimpses of her now and then, standing elegantly, smiling at fans, pretending she didn't see him. He laughed at Bai Lu's jokes, but his eyes, they wandered. Maybe he thought no one noticed. But cameras never miss a thing. And fans certainly didn't. Why does Dylan keep looking toward Shen Yue's table? Someone tweeted. Wasn't he supposed to be here with Bai Lu? Another wrote. The internet was already ablaze with speculation. Hashtag Dylan Wang stares at Shen Yue began trending before the event even ended. But for Shen Yue, The noise of the world was drowned out by the quiet thunder inside her chest. As the ceremony drew to a close, she quietly excused herself, heading toward a less crowded hallway. The air outside the main hall was cooler, calmer, almost soothing. She leaned against the wall, closing her eyes for a moment. And that's when the tears she'd been holding back finally fell. She didn't sob. She didn't break down dramatically. It was quiet, a few tears, a deep breath, a trembling hand pressed against her chest. But the emotion was raw, undeniable, and real. Was it jealousy? Maybe. But not the shallow kind born from rivalry or resentment. It was the kind of jealousy that comes from love still lingering where it shouldn't. From wondering if she had meant as much to him as he had meant to her. When she finally returned to her seat, the cameras caught her again. This time, her smile gentler, her eyes still glossy. Fans immediately noticed. Some pitied her. Others admired her grace. But all agreed, Shen Yue had just turned heartbreak into poise. Later that night, when the event ended and stars began leaving, Dylan and Shen Yue crossed paths near the exit. For a moment, everything froze. He looked at her. Hesitant, almost regretful. She looked back. Calm, distant, but with a softness that spoke of everything she wouldn't say aloud. No words passed between them. Just a faint, silent exchange. The kind that says, I remember. I still care. But maybe we've changed too much to go back. Bai Lu joined Dylan moments later, her laughter echoing through the corridor. Shen Yue stepped aside, allowing them to pass, her head held high even as her heart sank. To outsiders it looked effortless. But those who truly saw, they understood the quiet pain behind that smile. Hours later, when she finally reached home, Shen Yue sat by her window overlooking the glittering city lights. Her phone buzzed endlessly with messages, notifications, fan edits of her tearful moment. She switched it off. In the silence, she let herself breathe. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to feel, not as a celebrity, but as a woman who once loved deeply and lost quietly. And maybe that's what made her tears so beautiful to the audience. They weren't for pity. They were for truth. For something real in a world of illusions. The next morning, headlines exploded. Shen Yue's emotional reaction stuns fans. Was it jealousy? The moment that broke millions of hearts. Clips from the event went viral. Some defended her. Some mocked. But the majority felt something they hadn't felt in a while. Empathy. Because in her vulnerability, she reminded the world that even stars, no matter how bright, still bleed when the heart breaks. A few days later, Dylan was asked about the event during a brief interview. The reporter smiled knowingly and asked, "Did you see Shen Yue that night?" He hesitated, then smiled faintly, his voice softer than usual.